Hello, my sweet friends. I'm so excited today. I am going to be joined by my dear friend, Rebekah Markham of Saint Onge Skin. And we're going to be talking about all things magical, mystical, a little bit of mediumship, intuitive guidance, and a new project that Rebekah's been working on that I'm so excited to share with you all. So, you might be wondering a little bit like, what does skincare have to do with mediumship? And that's what you're about to find out. So today we are joined by Rebekah Markham of Saint Onge Skin. Is that what you're branding yourself now as Saint
Yes.
Skin?
Yeah.
Rebekah and I have known each other for what, a bazillion years, since we were little itty bitties who actually did not know that we each were blessed with these wonderful gifts of intuition and just sort of in our, I don't know, our aging process discovered over dinner one night when we were talking about things that, oh, hey, wait a second, we both have these commonalities. Wait, this happened to you. Um, so it's been a fun little journey for both of us as friends to figure out what our gifts are. And now you've got some really cool stuff cooking in addition to the cool work that you do every day. So, Rebekah, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do?
Yeah. So I'm an esthetician and I work in Northampton and I perform facials. And along with my facials, I do energy work. So it's not just your traditional kind of like scrub and rub and get you off the table. It's really a ritual. We sit down together, we kind of talk about what's going on, what you're looking for. And within the service, I do energy work, I do light therapy. I also do a reading, a pull with the oracle deck that I have created and the cards, and just kind of ground you and get you to a spot where when you finish for that day, you're just like in a different realm and ready to face the world.
I think that that's such an interesting way to explain facials and skincare work because um, yeah, we don't often assume like that there's energy work there, right? But you're working in an energetic field. And there was something that you said to me before about how the skincare piece of this and your energy work. Talk a little bit about what you told me before, because I think that that's just like such a beautiful way to showcase.
Yeah, so I was saying that people don't really see the way that you look, they see
Hmm.
the way that you feel. And I think that's the important thing to kind of hone into is that knowing that we can really present ourselves to the world however we choose to and however we see fit. And a lot of that is how we're feeling on the inside. And if we're feeling terribly, then that's what we're going to project. But really kind of working on that, um, within ourselves to project something different can be, life changing for people.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that all the time when we're talking about energy fields. And, when I talk about intuition and intuitive guidance, when you're with people that you don't know, or it's the feeling that you walk into a room and you can't quite put a finger on it, but you know something's a little off. And it's that radiation of your own energy and picking up the energy of those around you. So, to your point,
Hmm.
right? Like, if you are feeling not your best self and you're radiating that out, there's other people that are going to pick up on it. How wonderful it is for people to be able to sit with you and have their energy replenished through your gifts. So
Hmm.
what you just launched this beautiful, everyone that has ever followed me or has sat with me knows how much I love playing with a variety of different oracle decks, and your deck is so beautiful. So
Thank
tell
you.
me, what was the inspiration behind this and why the skincare theme along with this? I mean, obviously that's the work that you do, but like why did you find that that was such an important piece to incorporate into the oracle deck?
Well, like you were saying, with energy and with intuition, and just kind of taking those times to sit and reflect, I wanted to help people have maybe something to guide them. And a lot of times people will be like, I'm not sure what to do. I don't really know how to meditate. Or maybe if they're journaling, they're like, I'm not sure what to journal about.
Yeah.
So with this deck and with the guide, it's just kind of giving people either a jumping off point or a reflection point or a check-in point or whatever they really want to make from it. So, you've worked with the deck now, like
Mhm.
it doesn't have such a strong theme that it makes you go into one direction or the other.
Right.
You can really use it however you want. And that was kind of the idea behind it, is just allowing people the freedom and flexibility to use their energy in the way that they most saw fit for themselves. And I
Mhm.
think that's, when you work with people, that's something that you're able to do, is kind of connect in with them and see how their energy, what it presents. And so I love that you use the decks and that you've been kind of working with that, and I love to watch all the other work that you do too with the other decks that you use.
And you know me, I love to read the books that go along with the decks because I feel like so much work gets poured into the meanings behind the cards. So it's always awkward when, you've got a deck that does, it's like what you're just saying, like it's more for you to bring the intuition to it. And I feel like that's almost like a totally different trust or skill set that you have to have and develop with your tools. And it's almost like a trust yourself, like a trust your own process, which for some of us, that makes us a little uncomfortable to do that, like to trust the process. But so 9 times out of 10, I'll, use the cards and read the guidance that goes along with them. But like you said, depending on who's in front of you, you sort of use that to bounce off of it. I love this because it really does make me tap into what does this mean for me right now? Right. It's not fortune telling. Like everyone always assumes like card pulls and tarot and all this is like fortune
Mm-hmm.
telling. It's really just about trusting your gut in things. And I think that for so many of us, we're taught not to trust our gut, right? Like we need concrete, hard evidence to like make a decision, which
Mm-hmm.
yes, we do. Like don't go out and just like do the thing because the card told you so. But it's one way to sort of start to read yourself. And I think that this is a beautiful way. That's what I love so much about this deck is it really does make you tap into you and not sort of leaning on everybody else, because there are so many of us that do always constantly look for that outside validation, and this really
Mm-hmm.
requires you to be inside validation to do the
Mm-hmm.
work. Thanks for
Mm-hmm.
making us wildly uncomfortable in some ways, Rebekah. And in all the most beautiful ways, because it's also this is one of those decks that like, it's not scary. It's like it's beautiful and loving and it's just simplistic. Like for
Mm-hmm.
people who are trying to just do a little bit of reflective work. I think that that's what these are so wonderful because this isn't hard, right? Like it's not a hard prompt. It's just sort of oh, well, what does that mean for me? Oh, this one is intuition reflect.
Reflect. I know exactly, right?
This is just how it works, folks. Can't pick
And
a better
that's right. I think with that too, and then in the book, there's with every card, there's like the message, and then
card.
there's the guidance, and then there's the affirmation. So you can do all parts of it, or you can
Mhm.
just choose one part of it, or you can, like mix and match and do with it what you will. So yeah, it was important for me to just have something to give people the opportunity, like you said, to go a little bit deeper within and to not look so much for the external validation, like you were saying, but to really just channel within themselves and seeing what would show up for them.
I'm sitting here thinking, how on earth, like, how did this even become? I mean, I know as friends, we've talked about like all these different projects that we've always wanted to do. But when it came time to sit down and really write this out, like, where was this something that along all the years that you've just sort of like plunked down on paper and just was like, wait a second, I have like a lot of stuff to work with? Or did you have to sit down and actually like plot and plan? Like, how did this roll out for you?
I went through old journals, so it wasn't as
That's
much
awesome.
of like sitting down and being like, okay, this is what I need to do. It
Mhm.
was like feeling that I had all of this inside of me and going through old journals and seeing what I had written and reflected on and then kind of piecing all of that together. So I didn't pull from things from like years and years ago, probably within like the last 5 years or so
Hmm.
was really like kind of the focus of where I got these ideas and yeah, like the messages and everything.
This is how I love how different our journaling is, because I journaled from the time I was what, in third grade, I think. I don't think anybody wants to pull out any of the wisdom that Carla had in fifth grade, seventh grade.
Well, that's why I didn't use that. Those are-
Like your journaling prompted like these beautiful cards. Mine would have been vastly different.
like I had macaroni and cheese for lunch today.
Andy Mogan's the best Boston Bruins
Yes.
player ever. I'm infatuated with Craig Channing. Okay, anybody who listens, they're gonna be like, "Who the hell is that?"
Wasn't his
Yes,
number 35?
that
Andy
would be Andy
Moog.
Moog's number.
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
right.
absolutely. Look
See, I
at
remember
those
those posters on your walls.
posters everywhere, everywhere.
Yeah.
Who knew? That's what I think is so fun, though, is like we have this beautiful history that, again, like we just did not know that we would. I mean, I don't know. Did you ever like suspect back then that you had any kind of intuitive gifts? Like, I mean, I could read when my friends were a little off, but like as teenagers and young people, you're supposed to be self-centered. You're supposed to be focused on your like growth and learning and not reading everybody around you. But I think we both were very sensitive friends, right? Like we were sensitive
Yeah.
people. We sort of knew how to navigate certain situations. But I mean, I most certainly didn't realize that I had any sort of real intuitive gifts until, obviously when I lost my gram, who
Hmm.
Rebecca knew my Grammy. She was a hilarious person, and I'd lost my senior year in high school. And then things would happen, but we just sort of chalked it up as like, oh, Grammy's not in the house. Not that like I could talk to her,
Right.
you know. But did you have those experiences when you were younger that you just
I
didn't?
think I think probably I had experiences that I reflect back on and I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, that could have been something. Like you were said, like, we'd like feel Graham in the house or something like that. And, people are just like, oh yeah, of course you do. But then you realize like, no, actually I do. I don't think it was really until college until I was really felt a lot more confident, especially about like manifestation and being able to like do that. That made sorry, that made like a big difference.
Mhm.
And once I could see that that was a possibility, I felt like it just opened up so many more things. I think from that too, it just really, I've learned over the years that there's so much that is just kind of open to us, and that, yeah, it might take time to really understand what messages might mean, but when we
Mhm.
reflect back on them, and then you can be like, okay, um, yeah, it's so much more.
I also think that for me, like gifts, I feel like everybody has this ability. It's just a dial on the radio that you get to tune in or
Hmm.
out of. Some people are like, please do not let me tune into anything. Like, no, thank you. And then there's other people like us that just know how to dial it up. But for me, I feel like I didn't really tune in too much until, after, right around when my mom passed 4 years ago is when I just started to really turn up the dial because I wanted to continue the conversation, but I'd always been dabbling. I mean, I believe that you and I, when we were probably in like fifth or sixth grade, my grandma lived across the street from a graveyard. And I distinctly remember that like our favorite place to go and hang out and walk, not because we were just like, morbid kids. It was like we like to spend our time there. And, looking back
Hmm.
on it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense because we just loved the energy that was there and around it. But I didn't open up until, so much later. But I also feel like there's something about women in their over 40 status that opens up floodgates of a lot of things, like a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I always call it my I don't give a fuck era. Like this is the era of like just not caring so much about what people think or how what people see and being more in tune with myself. And there's such a beautiful process in that of like this aging process and kind of leading into gifts in that way. And I think we are starting to see a lot more women do that, especially in an older age bracket.
I think some of that too can be like, we're young, like you said, when we're younger, we're really like introspective, and then we might, start relationships or get married and then have children. And there's just so
Mm-hmm.
many other commitments for all of those years that now when we start to approach this age as our kids are getting older to, either be a lot more self-sufficient or they're leaving for college or, doing their adult life, their young adult life things, then that just allows things to open. I know for me, I felt like I couldn't open anything else up
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted to give to my kids in the way that I wanted to be present for them as their mom. And now I have that room for
Mm-hmm.
more things. And I don't know if that's my own growth and self-reflection, or if it's, just time, or if it's the fact that they're much more self-sufficient, or,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's just that I'm in my 40s now and I don't give a fuck anymore, like it's like it could be all of those things. And I think
Yeah.
that's the beauty about life is really just understanding that it can be multiple things at once, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know so many people are so inflexible about like, well, it has to be this by this time. And especially if they are thinking that they have, some intuitive properties in their own self that they want to tune into. And it's like, well, why can't I do it by this time? And it's like, everything in life is perfectly imperfect, right? Like
Hmm. Hmm.
it's just how it is. Nothing's going to go as planned exactly the way we wanted it to be because that's just not how the universe works, even when we
Hmm.
have it written in our own paths that like we're going to get from point A to point B. There's not a lot of details in the process of how we get there. Um, yeah, there's so many people that are like, oh, I'm so frustrated because I want to do X, Y, and Z and I can't get there. And it's like, well, ask yourself why. Like to your point, like do you have a lot of stuff on your plate right now? Are you busy with work? Do you have your kids to raise? Energetically, when we're thinking about our energy bubbles, there's nothing left to give. And so like you
Hmm.
can't, that's where we get into trouble energetically, right? Like when we are pouring from the empty cup, you
Right.
have nothing left to tap into. Your gifts aren't going to be as heightened.
And I think too that people maybe want specific gifts, and those just might not be the gifts that they're as mm, strong in. I don't want to say
Mm-hmm.
good at or
Yeah.
whatever, but they like I know I mean, I don't know if I would want to, but part of me fantasizes that I'd be like, "Oh, I totally wish I could hear things, and like you." And then sometimes I know that you're like, "I don't want to know. I don't want to
I
hear
just want
that."
to go through Walmart and not talk to me, Ma. That's over
Yeah, yeah,
there.
like that's part of me too, where I'm like, "Oh, okay, maybe that's just like my body's like, you know what? You can't do that now." But energetically, like I can feel things. I had a new person, well, actually we hadn't seen each other for a little bit. It was kind of
Mhm.
like a, redo all of that stuff. And when I was working on her that day, obviously I feel stuff within the body. Maybe I can't necessarily like pinpoint exactly where in the body. Like I just
Mhm.
know, and it was like I knew on her right side she needed something. And she texted me after and she was like, I don't know how you knew that my right hip needed all of that work, and I was like, I knew there was something on that side. I couldn't, pinpoint exactly. But yeah, I think that's the thing too, is people might want to be able to do a specific thing, but their riches is actually in maybe something else that they don't even know that that's what their gift is because it just comes so easily to them.
Mhm. Yeah. How often do we fight the things that we, get put right in front of us because we're like, no, that's not the thing. And you're like, but it's the thing. I
Yeah.
always say that's when your guides are like, seriously, how many more times can we throw this in front of you before you realize that
Yeah.
this is the thing you should be doing? But
Yeah.
again, that's part of our life lesson and trying to figure those things out. I think that's fascinating though, that in the work that you do, the incorporation of Reiki into that work and being able to help people systematically from head to toe.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, I think that's something that people don't often think about. So tell me a little bit more about that work.
Yeah, so I think most people think, what a traditional facial would be. And I do, all of those steps, whether it's cleansing, exfoliating, extracting, mask, all of those things happen. And I just had a client the other day too say to me, she was like, "Oh, I feel so amazing." She's like, "And I got a facial too." Like, she's like, "I just
It's a twofer.
like that's a bonus." So yeah, it's really hard to explain like this is the exact process because it's in a loose framework, but it is more, I just go based on
Mhm,
either what I'm feeling that the person needs that day or
mhm,
when I touch them, what I know. Like people will be like, "Oh, what do you think of my skin?" Like when I look at them and I'm like,
mhm,
I need to feel it. Like
mhm.
I
Yep.
need to feel how your skin is more than I can see it, but
Right.
feeling it gives me a lot more information.
Yep.
And I think that's another thing too that people don't always, they're like, "What do you mean you have to touch?"
You have to wait, what?
Yeah. What?
Did I sign up for
Um, yeah.
that? Yeah, you asked for facial.
Yeah. So all of that stuff, but like you said, it's a whole body experience as
Mhm.
opposed to just like just surface. And I think
Right.
with everything, it's trying to get within all of you, and helping the entire body, the entire system, the entire soul,
Mhm.
and working on that. So.
Yeah, I mean, and energetically being able to sort of do that reset with yourself, and it's so important. Like, it's so important. I think we lose
Hmm.
track sometimes of like that self-care part. Like, people think of self-care and they're like, oh, like it's a vacation, or oh, I'm gonna go to like a luxurious spa and spend thousands of dollars. Like, I'm talking about go get your damn iced coffee in the morning because it tastes good. Like,
Hmm.
self-care doesn't have to be these extreme acts, or it can be I go for the facial, I go for the massage, I go to the movie, I do the thing that's going to fill my bucket back up, and it can just be so simple, something to
Hmm.
replenish from head to toe. And especially with the work that you do, I think that when you feel good, like you said, when you radiate how you're feeling from inside out, like that can be a total game changer for someone's
Hmm.
mental health even. So it's so important.
When you sit with people, do you have kind of a loose framework? I would imagine that it's not
Yeah.
the same for every person too. What's that like?
Yeah. So, I will always ask folks ahead of time if they're looking really specifically for connection to spirit, or if they're looking for intuitive guidance, or a blend of both, or just whatever happens. And most people that come in are like, I'm open to anything that happens. So, like, let's see who comes through and what happens. But for me, I do energy work in a different way. So I am looking at your energetic field and talking to your team of people on the other side. So whether it's your spirit guides, your team of light, your people who are on the other side, to sort of tap in. It's not, people are like, "Can you read my mind?" I'm like, "No, I don't." Like,
Hmm.
it doesn't work that way. And so, we will sit and sort of just see what comes naturally. And usually it's, somebody's really coming into a session typically with some sort of an intention, like, oh, I really hope to hear from someone. And I always tell people, keep it to yourself. I don't want to know, so that this can be as organic as possible. And then we see where the wind blows you. And it's always funny because I get a lot of clients that'll come in, their people will come in loud and proud, give us the validation to affirm who they are first. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, why are you doing the thing? Like, it's like your grandma's just like, why are you doing that dumb thing right now? And they're like, whoa, 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 that's happening now. And it's like, yeah, your people are still with you. Like, they're still energetically connected to you. That's the beautiful part of this work, is that your people
Mm.
are always with you. And they're hanging out with you for the joy, for the sorrow, for everything in between. So they can have commentary for you on things that are very much happening now. It doesn't always have to be, sort of in the past, but yeah, we just kind of go where the wind blows us and see how it feels. And, for folks that have people that pop through that may not have been, folks that they had the most wonderful relationships with here in this avenue, in this channel. um the same way we have boundaries with people in real life, we have boundaries with spirit. And so I often tell people, if someone pops through in a session that you are not ready to hear from, we just go, hey, you need to step aside right now. Like, this is not your time to speak. Or if it's someone that you just don't want to hear from at all, we can just ask them to leave. The same way you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't want somebody just knocking on your door and being like, hey, I want to tell you all about the shit I did to you. Nope, sorry, go away. It's the same thing. We can have those same boundaries with people in spirit. And yeah, my
That's
clients
amazing.
always get to direct where they sort of want to go with it.
And what is your kind of self-care either before or
Ooh.
after sessions?
My self-care. So I typically will cleanse my office space.
Mm-hmm.
So through a smoke cleansing, I'll do a quick smoke cleansing and or sound cleansing with a sound bowl. And I spend usually like 10 minutes or so doing a quick meditation before I hop on a call with clients. And we'll just sort of, I call it like warming up the room. It's sort of like, if you were getting ready for a doctor's appointment, like, somebody comes in and cleans the room and they put the crinkly sheet across the table for your exam. I'm doing those same kind of things and then welcoming spirit into my office space. So when I'm in session with folks, people will often see me look off to my left because that's typically where your people will sit in my waiting room. So I'm sort of, kind of welcoming people in and setting ground rules with them. It's like my time to talk to them and say, hey, I know there are a lot of you here. We need you to do this like one at a time, and sort of set those boundaries for them on how to communicate so that we can make sure. I'm like, you're just as excited as your person to be connected. Let's make sure that we can get the validation through. So, like, can you speak to me one at a time? Give me specific memories that only you and my sitter are going to know, things that I should have no knowledge of. I can't research this. I want the memory of the childhood thing, the special thing that you said to them. Give me as specific as possible so that I can deliver it. And that person sitting in front of me absolutely knows that's my person.
Mm,
Absolutely that person. So I will have that kind of conversation with them before I welcome somebody in to the Zoom room.
nice. And
What
then
about you?
after, do you do anything like when you're closing out a
Oh, when I
session
close up,
or
yeah.
like how do you end your day? Is there something
how
you
do I
need
how
to
do I usher them out? Is what you're asking me?
or like after you've done that, what is
Yeah.
your like kind of like
Yeah, I do this
release or process?
same thing. I always do a cleanse. I'm off the, call with a session with a client, and then I will do another cleansing of the room and the space. I always have candles going when I read. It's mostly
Mm-hmm.
comforting for me. Um, and so I'll blow out the candles, and I usually recite something around like, I'm releasing the energy that doesn't belong to me. I'm asking any spirits that were here to please return to their people. And I open up a window because out you go. And then I always do hand washing. So for me, like, it's
Mm-hmm.
always a lot of like people will often see me if I do like multiple readings or group readings in person. Like after every session, I'm like getting up and washing hands because like you're
Mm-hmm.
working with energy. And so it's just a quick cleansing of my own energetic fields so that I can sort of do a full body reset.
Mm-hmm.
But that's so important. Or if I'm done for the day, then I'm in the shower. I spend a lot of time showering
Mm-hmm.
and moisturizing. I promise you, I moisturize.
Do you bring any salt? Do you do any salt in the shower too? Like a little sprinkle of salt?
No, I should I?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Like just like because
Okay,
salt's so cleansing
a
and it
salt
can be
thing.
like just
Making
like
notes.
a little pinch of salt. And I mean, you could just sprinkle it into the shower. You could sprinkle it onto yourself. You could sprinkle
Oh,
it onto
ooh,
your head or whatever. But then just like, you could also like just say a little something like in terms of like,
yeah,
I wash away, and you might already
yep,
do that, but just
yeah.
some kind of like making that ritual. And that's another thing that I
Hmm.
talk to people about and with
Hmm.
the online thing that I'm going to be creating and launching in the new year. It's having a daily and, weekly, perhaps, ritual of just kind of different things that we do to feed ourselves. Um,
Mm.
Another thing is, having your beauty ritual, like your makeup and everything. A lot of times I encourage people to take that out of the bathroom because the bathroom is like where we go to discard
Right,
and
to cleanse. Oh, that's
to
such a great
cleanse.
point.
And if we're trying to do our makeup in the same place that we're washing everything away and discarding and
Mhm.
eliminating, it's like it doesn't set up the same frequency or have that same vibe.
Oh, true. Look at that. I didn't even think about that. And I'm always thinking about energetic space. And for me, I think like, yes, it's my space of cleansing, but I never thought of it that way. But that makes so much sense because you, like you said, you're washing away the things
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
get rid of
elimination.
that.
Yeah,
Right. So why would I want to be in the same space, like putting my day
right.
back on?
Yeah, doing my
Like,
beauty like this is my beauty right
wait, if
where
shit keeps happening to you,
yeah,
ta-da!
yeah.
Do
It's
your
like
makeup elsewhere. Oh,
yeah.
that's perfect. That's just like the best advice ever.
Hmm.
It's it's things like that that people don't understand. It's those simple tweaks that we can do that can make an absolute difference. Now, grounded in science? No. Woo-woo? Sure. But
Hmm.
who cares if it actually makes a difference in your intention? If
Hmm.
that's the thing that triggers your intention to manifest something different,
Hmm.
who cares?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I love this. I love this so much. I think there's so many intersections around just how we show up in the world and the woo-woo things that people don't really think of on a daily basis, but that makes so much sense to people like us that I want to keep diving. Like I just want to keep diving into these conversations and talking about our crazy paths in life and how we got here because
Hmm.
I think that it's fascinating for us, like to sort of reflect back on the little people that we were one day and where we got to. And looking back with our adult eyes, being like, oh my gosh, there was so much magic
Hmm.
that was happening for both of us. And our spirit guides, like, being like, oh no, you two. Oh no. Out we go.
Yep.
Let's keep you
Yep.
safe.
Hmm. Hmm.
That I think that it's so fun. And I bet there's so many people out there that can relate to these experiences with their friends and their friend groups. And Rebekah, I am so excited for us to have more conversations.
Me too. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely. Thank
thank
you.
you so much for joining me and having space to do this today. I am just going to be thinking about this now. And now I got to find a new place to do my makeup.
Hmm.
Mm,
No, it really does make a difference. Once I did that like almost 18 months ago, and I feel like it was like a whole new, I was like, wow, I just, yeah, this is my space now. This is
yeah.
my place, and there's something really beautiful about that. So,
Mm, I love that. I love that. What a great tip to end on.
yeah.
Thanks, Rebekah.
Thank you.